Hey there, welcome back. My name's Tiger, and today we're going to be creating some nice digital art in the style of Dovneon. We're going to be combining some oceans, some neons, some clouds, and we're going to create some nice digital surrealist art. So we're going to start off by getting rid of what's in our scene. We're just going to whack a plane in. We're going to go modifiers over here, and we're going to drop in an ocean modifier. We're going to put up our render quality resolution to 32, and then maybe put this on 16 so we can see a bit of the geometry that we're creating. Then we're just going to play with these settings a bit. So I'm moving the spatial size down to maybe like 30, maybe just 35. And we're going to drop a camera in so we can start blocking out our scene. Just going to bring that up. I'm going to click N. I'm just going to make this 90, 0, 0. I'll press 0 to look inside, and we're just going to change our proportions to 1080 by 1920, so we'll design for Instagram, and we'll bring our camera back, and I'm just going to rotate it down a little bit. So this is our basic composition that we're going to be working with, and then in our ocean I'm just going to add just one repeat on the y-axis, so hopefully you won't notice that. And next, what I'm going to do is animate our water. So we're going to start our time at 0 and go to frame 0. And I'm going to put a keyframe in. And then we're going to have it at 24 frames per second. So make this a 10-second animation. And normally you could do 10, and that's going to generate the time it would be at real speed, but I always find that a bit fast. So I'm just going to do half speed and do that at 5 seconds. And now if we scrub through our timeline, we can see our water's moving, but it's also easing. So what we want to do is click on there, select our keyframes with I, go interpolation mode, and go linear. And now it'll move consistently at the same speed all the way through. The next thing we want to do is loop our water. So to loop our water, we're going to duplicate our ocean. I'm going to set this one to displace instead. It's looking a bit funky now, but we're going to go back to our 0th keyframe, and here on the time axis we want to have this at 5 seconds. Click I on there. We're going to go to the end of our timeline. I'm going to put this at 10 seconds. Nice. And now we want to go into waves on both of these, and we're going to adjust our scale. So that's how high we're creating our waves. So, oops, I lost it. So when we have 5 seconds in here, we want that scale to be 1, and then on our displacement, we want to have this at 0. And then we go back to our first keyframe, and now we want to start off at 5 with 1, and then we want 0 to start with 0. And now, if we just select all our keyframes and make them linear again, and we play through, we can see we've got our water animating, and then when we get to the very last bit, it loops around seamlessly. And that's because when we're starting on our very first keyframe, if we look at this one, our time's at 5 and the scale is 1, and then when we look at the end one, this time is 5 and this one is all at 0, so it's not being affected at all. So this is a nice way to get a looping water scene. So when you've got an Instagram post or something, it's not going to be all jaggedy at the end, and people won't even know how long you rendered for. It's a great way to save time when you're rendering. Sweet! So now that we've got our water in, we're going to have a look at rendering it nice and quick. So we're going to swap over to cycles. We're going to go shading, and we're going to go into our world. And I'm just going to press Ctrl T if you have the Node Wrangler add-on available. And I'm just going to open up an HDRI. So I'm going to put this in the link in bio. I'll link in the description so you can see. And you can see this, if we just hide this for a second. So this HDRI I'm using has a nice blue sky, which is really good. Bring this back in, and we're just going to add a really simple water texture to our object. So I'm going to call this water. And obviously you can just download one if you want, or you can get the link in the description. I'll have this available. Change our specular down, turn this to black, and then you just need to reduce the roughness. And this is looking super watery because the light we're reflecting onto it is already blue, and it's just darkening that up a bit. So this is looking great. Sweet. The only thing is you're getting this kind of grassy scene in the background, but we'll fix that. We're going to add just a denoising past before we forget. Film. change our film to transparent, so we're not too distracted. So now when we're looking in this camera, we can see this is already looking kind of nice. And if we just quickly go to GPU, so we're going to be a bit quicker, we're going to change our resolution just to 32, just so we can see how much quality we're getting out of this. Go back to our 0th keyframe, and we look at rendered view. This is looking really nice. So our next thing to do is we're going to add in a background plane. So we're going to go File, Import. If you have the Images Planes add-on, you're going to be able to do that pretty easily. And I've just got one from Unsplash, which has a nice material preview. Has a nice kind of like oceany vibe. And I just kind of want to take the sky out of this one. So I'm just going to stretch this up a little bit. And then I'm just going to move this back. Nice. And then it just needs to be a lot bigger. And even bigger, even taller. Yeah, and that'll act as a nice little end to our scene. So now if we look at a rendered preview, when it loads in, take a while to compute the geometry. You can see our water's getting some nice color out of this image plane. And I think actually it probably just needs to repeat one more time. It's looking a bit close. And I'll drop this back to maybe 14 so we're not chugging so much every time we make a change. Actually I should do 16 because that's where our other one's at. Maybe one more. See how our frame is looking, and I'll just take our camera and I'm just gonna where's my camera settings? There we are. I'm just going to make it maybe like 100mm kind of tight shot. There we go. Press Alt Z. Nice. Cool. Let's add in a bit more depth. Looks like a bit of a weird shot, doesn't it? Maybe this needs to just look up a bit more and come down. Yeah, that's looking a bit more natural. Because really, when you take a photo of the sky, yeah. So now that we've got our basic watery ground in, and we've got our background plane, what we're going to add next is I feel a bit weird about this composition. It's alright, we'll leave it for now. We're going to drop in a cube, and this is going to be our cloud. So we kind of want it to take up a fair bit of our screen. So what we're going to do with this cube is we're going to add a cloud shader. So I'm just going to append a cloud shader I've created previously. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. And if we look at this, look at it. We got a little cloud. I can't remember how I made this. I made it a long time ago, following a tutorial. I think I kind of liked it at 0.8 by 0.8. Gave it a nice little like elongation. And if we make everything viewable again, we can start setting up our scene. So I really like to put viewport display composition guides, and I like to use rule of thirds. It just helps me, I don't know, rationalize my scene a bit. So I'll bring this up here, so our horizon line's kind of meeting that, and I'll bring this up so that's the focal point there. And now if we go to rendered, the scale's looking a bit off. I feel like this should be much bigger. Nice. And the nice thing about this is similar to the way we were doing our water looping. I've got a similar thing here happening. So we've got our, if I just bring up a timeline, to zoom, timeline, there we go. Click on the cloud, and we click on the mapping nodes. You can see these are set to 160, so bring them out to 240, like this frame. Bring these out to 240. So basically, at frame 0, this is on 0 rotation, and this is on 45Z rotation, and the factor is at 1, so it means it's mixing only this channel, so it's at 45, and then this one increases up to 90, the other one increases from 0 to 45, and the mix goes down. So it's basically doing exactly the same thing we're doing with our ocean. That's how. So our cloud is actually going to animate and kind of spin on the z-axis, which kind of just looks like it's kind of traveling, I guess, through space. But yeah, next we're just going to add some more lighting to kind of finish off our scene. So we're going to get sunlight in, and I'm just going to hide our cloud for a bit, because I know the clouds are very impacted on our scene. I'm just going to position this light kind of so it's coming from the front a little bit. Pump some more power into it, and just add a slight orangeness. Let's see how that cloud's looking. And a bit more. And it's feeling really dense, so I'm just going to reduce how much we're multiplying it by, just so it's a bit thinner and a bit more light can travel through it. Nice. And then I also kind of want some sort of reaction between the cloud and the water. So if actually if the cloud's further back in our scene, we'll get it like interacting with this water a bit more. We can make it bigger, and we can see that it's influencing the water, adding a bit of interest there. And just kind of a nice like 1, 2, 3 moment. Maybe just want the sun coming in a bit harder. Nice. Okay, I'm enjoying this. Alright, so I'm just going to render a single frame out at, let's just say 150 samples. And then we'll get into compositing so we can have a look at our scene. Alrighty, so now that our render is done, we're going to just do some quick compositing. So we're going to click use nodes. We're going to bring this out. We're going to put a denoise node in, and we're just going to look at our finished product. Just move it over here so we can see it. Cool. So first thing is we're just going to plug in our denoised data, our normal and albedo, put it into our viewer. You see we're going to get a nice smoothness to it. However, I think it's taking a bit too much out of it. So something I like to do is put a mix node in and mix in our original image and our denoised one. And then if you play with this, you can see we're adding less or more noise. So I think just adding a little bit of noise just gives it like almost a filmic quality to it, like it's being shot out of a camera. It's not so perfectly smooth, and just adds a bit more of those details in. Next thing I want to do is add a glare node, everyone's favorite. So this is what's going to give us a nice little bloom effect. So what I like to do here is turn the mix up to 1, so we can see what we're doing, and we're just going to lower the threshold down a bit, so we can see that's where we're getting all our bloom from. Probably bring it up 1 tick, 0.65. Yeah, a bit off the cloud, it's nice. And then if we just reduce the mix back to 0, so we're adding in that bloom, you can see that's making a nice little difference. Sweet. I'm not really loving how this water's looking, and I think that might be because of the direction of our light. Yeah, let's go back into our layout. And a lot of what you're going to get out of your renders is always going to be how much time you spend just tweaking, because this really small change can do a lot. So that's the light. This is the light facing more towards us. Oh, I know what I've forgotten to do. So this plane here, it's only just a diffuse material, so we just need to add an emission to it, which is the image itself. Now if we look at rendered, ooh, so much better. So without, you see it's kind of just like, this looks all quite dark, it doesn't look realistic because we're blocking the HDR from behind, so we're actually getting no light coming towards us. When we put that on emission, boom, we're getting light coming towards us, which is kind of like making these shadows created by the cloud a bit more obvious. One more thing I want to do is, let's just get a nice empty, and we're just going to increase the size of it, zoom, and then we're just going to bring it back here. We'll put it rendered real quick. Oh, I can't see it. It's really annoying. Solid wireframe. Put it there. Yep. And then we're going to turn on depth of field. We do it to our empty. I might just reduce this. And this is just going to make us focus on the cloud, which should theoretically mean that our foreground is a bit more blurry. And then next, I just want to go to our layers, we'll turn on a mist pass, go to our world, we'll go to our camera first. If you go viewport visibility, just turn on mist. Go back to our world, and we just want to adjust where our mist is starting. So bring it there, bring the depth back to there, back to our image plane. And we're going to we're just going to reduce the samples down a bit so we get this a bit quicker. Turn on adaptive sampling. And also, I have auto tile size turned on, but when you're under a GPU, I'm running on GPU and CPU, so I'm just going to turn that down a bit so it's a bit quicker. I'm going to add one more cool thing. Let's just make a cylinder. We're going to make it smaller and taller. Oh yeah. We're going to rotate it on the Y. This is going to be kind of like a 3D graphic element. And we're going to bring this back, go into wireframe. Scale into the local Z. Bring this up. It's kind of around the center. I can just be a bit shorter. Cool. And then we're just gonna put on like a light material. It's really simple, just an emission. And I think because we've got so much blue in here, like an orange color might contrast well. So it'll be like a nice little neon light. And then we just want to go and render, have a look at this. So that's massive right now. So let's just bring this in, maybe so it's like 4/6 of the frame. Kind of wish it was a bit steeper. I just want it a bit thicker. And then we just want to increase this emission. Control B, change our render region. I'm just going to look at the top here. I think that's nicely kind of illuminating the bottom and the top. If we just look at how this is looking from up top. So just a bit more surface area, a bit more light coming from it. Yeah, that's looking kind of cool. Alright, and now we're just going to bring this back to render the whole region. And we'll render this out and have a look at it. Alright, now that our render is done, we might just do one final pass of compositing. So this time we just want to bring our mist layer in. So if we just get a mix shader and we bring out our mist to the factor, and then we can just print our noisy image through and take a look at this without any glare on it. We can see we're kind of like dissolving into the background. I think I've seen a couple of people do this a different way. I'm just going to do a lighten. Oh no, it's not a lighten, it's a screen. Yeah, nice. And then if this is black, it shouldn't do anything, right? Yep. So this is going to add like we're doing a big fog path. I think we just need a color ramp. Like that there. Bring this down. Oh, bring it the other way. Bring the blacks up. Bring this way down. Yeah, it's something subtle. I kind of want just like a bit more glare. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a nice image. Looks interesting to me. Cool. I guess that's our nice image. I kind of want to see how this rod will look if we just pump up the brightness though. I feel like we're getting enough out of it. Fucking 100. I'm just gonna see, that's looking a bit more epic. Getting like a nice shadow and light from there. Color management, I like to put on maybe like a medium high contrast. So we'll just do one more proof render. Alright, so now that our render's finishing up, just want to say I'm just going to show you what this looks like when it's animated, and then I'll do a little bit of a color grade maybe in Premiere or After Effects, and then yeah, give it a shot, showing you what you can do in the tutorial. Tag me on Instagram, send me a message on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, good luck with it, and can't wait to see what you guys make. So cheers.